Hello humans! In this video we will learn how to form questions out of verbs. We'll also learn the very interesting difference in written and spoken language questions, including dialects. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. It's very quick and is great help for me to reach more learners. Okay, let's get to it. As usual, we'll start with an example dialogue. For the translation of this dialogue, remember to turn on subtitles. Hei, oletko sinä John? Joo, olen. Puhutko sinä englantia? Joo, puhun. Asutko sinä Suomessa? En asu. As you see, you can ask a yes-no question in Finnish by adding the suffix ko, kö, at the end of a verb. In this example, the verb is in second person singular sinä, but later in the video we'll see more examples. Let's get to them. As said in the previous slide, this type of question is a so-called yes or no question. Again, we'll use puhua and asua as examples. Two questions in our example dialogue were puhutko sinä englantia and asutko sinä Suomessa, to which you can answer positively joo, minä puhun englantia and joo, minä asun Suomessa, respectively. We can see that the word order of the subject and the verb is flipped. If we need to give a negative answer, we can say ei, minä en puhu englantia, or ei, minä en asu Suomessa. I'm using these examples to illustrate to you the complete structure of the phrase, but it's much more common to use a shorter version of these questions. So realistically, we would actually see the questions puhutko englantia? And the answer joo, puhun, or negatively en puhu. The same way, we would ask asutko Suomessa? With the answer joo, asun, or negatively en asu. The answer can be even shorter by answering just joo or en. Let's see how the question is formed by using the katsoa verb as an example. In the persona sinä, we first look at the regular conjugation, which is sinä katsot. After katsot, the suffix ko is added. It's not necessary to add the personal pronoun sinä, but if it's done, it must come after the verb, as in katsotko sinä? The process works the same way in all other personas, where the ko suffix is added to the verb. So the forms would be katsonko minä? Katsotko sinä? Katsooko hän? Katsommeko me? Katsotteko te? Katsovatko he? Simple. Let's practice forming questions next. Practice forming questions from the verb etsiä. Stop the video, write down the forms, then continue watching to see the correct answers. Okay? Stop the video now. All done? Let's check the correct answers. Make sure that you have the correct amount of vowels in all forms and that you have remembered to use the correct vowel harmony. Good job! Let's move on to spoken forms. Let's go through our example dialogue one more time, but this time in spoken form. Hei, oot sä John? Joo, oon. Puhut sä englantia? Joo, puhun. Asut sä Suomessa? En asu. We'll take a look at how these are formed in the next slide. The spoken language variant of this form is very different from the standard variant. In spoken language, the interrogative suffix ko, ke is commonly replaced with a different suffix. We'll use the verb asua as an example. We are already familiar with the written form of the question. The spoken form, however, is formed like this. The basis is the present tense form of the verbs in their spoken form. Then the ko, ke suffix changes a bit. Asunko minä changes to asunks mä. Asutko sinä becomes asut sä. After this, asuuko hän becomes asuuko se. Asummeko me follows the same logic as the spoken form, where the base is asutaan, and so the question becomes asutaanko me. Furthermore, asutteko te becomes asutteko te, and asuvatko he becomes asuuks ne. This type of change can feel overwhelming or difficult at first, but it's quite natural after you practice it for a while. The Eastern Finnish dialect follows the same logic. The suffix is basically replaced with a personal pronoun. The end result may sound strange at first, as it might not be obviously recognizable as a replacement for the ko, ke suffix. As in, asunks mie, asut sie, asuuks se, asutaanks me, asutteks te, asuuks ne. If you're planning or already live in Eastern Finland, knowing this form will prove useful to you. Okay, now that we know this form, let's do another exercise. Try out forming questions from these verbs again, but this time in spoken form. Stop the video, write down the forms, then continue watching to see the correct answers. Okay? Stop the video now. All done? Let's check the correct answers. Puhunks mä? Puhut sä? Puhuuks se? Puhutaanks me? Puhutteks te? Puhuuks ne? Remember to make sure you have the correct suffix in place. Read aloud the forms and practice saying them before you continue. Stop the video one more time and read them aloud. All done? Okay. Let's move on. And that's all for this time. Thank you for watching. Remember to practice and experiment with what you've learned in this video. See you next time. Heippa!